Good morning, and welcome to the December 18th System X Virtual Users Group. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Brocade to the panel. System X has had a long-time partnership with Brocade, and we are proud to OEM their high-quality line of products. All lines are muted during the call to avoid background noise, as the session will be recorded for later viewing on our virtual user homepage. If you're having any trouble accessing the WebEx, the slides for today's call are already posted to the virtual user group homepage. For questions, please utilize the chat panel in your WebEx, and we will review the questions at the end of the call. With that, I welcome Steve Puzio. The floor is yours, Steve.
Thank you very much, Ben. Let me start off just making sure you can hear me okay.
We sure can.
All right, so first and foremost, thank you everyone for joining the call today. It's a really extremely exciting time for both Brocade and Lenovo. We have a long-standing relationship with System X and been working close hand in hand with developing products and solutions to help enable a lot of the solutions out in the data centers today. So what today is really, again, a high-level overview. First, we're going to go through just what the Brocade partnership is, what the Brocade is in the industry, and basically where you can leverage us within your solutions and data centers throughout with your customers, and also if you are the customer, the benefits of using Brocade. So throughout the presentation, again, if you have questions, I think the best might be the chat window, or if you have a quick question, I'll try to answer them along the way. But again, there's a good amount of content, but a lot of exciting things that are happening that are unique to what Lenovo can do and how we can help enable a stronger solution. Let's make sure this goes through. All right, so can you see the transition to slide 2?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, perfect. Makes it easier. So again, just from a high-level perspective, I myself, I'm the global sales exec for Brocade, and again, responsible for all of the Brocade products that are sold through Lenovo worldwide. On the call also, we have John Chamberlain, but we also actually have a greater team of sellers that cover the North America region. So what this is, again, we have a dedicated team that specifically supports all of the Lenovo sellers and are here to help with the deal, basically help in answering questions regarding what's going on with the deal, understanding how we can help you, help architecting the solutions, answering general questions. Plus, we actually have more resources that are part of our corporate team to help answer more questions regarding our products and to help enable you from whatever perspective you need. So these slides will be shared. So again, I won't go through it line by line. But again, number one, just realize we have a dedicated team to supporting Lenovo. We see that the value and the importance of working with Lenovo and being part of the solution together. But now, from a general perspective, what is really happening in the industry? So one of the things that we track very closely, and the industry just basically is constantly growing with its data needs. So from a hard drive and storage perspective, we're seeing a massive ramp up, and everybody's always talked about this, and everybody sees it. But understanding what that data storage need is really critical. And what this chart is, and if I'm not mistaken, this is a Gartner view, or IBC view of it. But really what it's showing is, again, fiber channel storage, which is a top gray line, and I think actually the colors are inverted for some reason. But the top line, seeing that growth, is a fiber channel growth. Fiber channel storage is going to be the leader for the foreseeable future because fiber channel is very resilient, very high performance data storage mechanism. The two lines below it are actually IP storage. So they're broken up into iSCSI and NAS. But those are the other two emerging or fast growing markets for the storage market. And then all the way at the bottom, and again, I wish the colors were great, but that red line all the way at the bottom, that is fiber channel over Ethernet storage arrays. So what that shows is, again, it's not that fiber channel over Ethernet is not a growing market. This is just talking about the storage arrays. But what it's showing is fiber channel over Ethernet as a technology is being used more within the storage or within the racks, meaning the servers, and then breaking out and going back to a traditional fiber channel storage array or IP storage system. Fiber channel over Ethernet storage array is not, again, the ramp is extremely slow. And I think you're seeing it hidden behind InfiniBand storage arrays. So it gives you a general idea that from a market perspective, fiber channel is going to continue to ramp up aggressively. And IP storage is the second growth area where you're going to see a strong growth in the storage area networking. So now, from a data center environment, what are you actually going to see when you're walking into all these various designs? Or if you're from a customer perspective, what are you seeing? Is from a networking perspective, you're going to see a lot of dominant players. I simplified the chart, but even from a local networking, IP networking standpoint, you're going to consistently see Cisco, Juniper, Brocade, Lenovo networking. There's multiple players that are going to be basically in the networking space. From a fiber channel or SAN infrastructure, you're going to see the Brocades and the Ciscos of the world. And you'll notice it just keeps compounding when you start talking about storage support. There's IBM, EMC. There's going to be all multiple vendors that are part of the storage array segment. And then when you bring even flash storage, multiple companies are ramping up. There is more and more storage networking or flash storage companies emerging to address that market. But more importantly, what we're trying to put, well, actually ironically, sorry, the build-up didn't work on that one, but really the question becomes is you want to make sure when you're walking into all these environments, you're comfortable with the solution that you're going to be proposing or what a solution you're going to be using. And really, Brocade interoperates with each and every one of these environments. Brocade has tested and validated our products with a LAN from the IP perspective, from a fiber channel SAN perspective. We've partnered and have OEM relationships with many of the top tier storage vendors. And also, again, we actually have a ready for flash program to make sure we interoperate with the various flash vendors. Because we know no customer just has one type of storage or one type of networking or just one vendor, single vendor in the whole data center. They're always mixed vendor environments because, again, they're trying a lot of customers. If I were designing my own data center, it's a best-of-breed solution. And again, Brocade with Lenovo enables you a best-of-breed solution that's going to seamlessly interoperate no matter what the environment is. So again, reducing the stress, reducing the complexity, reducing your concerns, because again, Brocade can interoperate in all of these mixed environments. Now again, from a storage and networking perspective, again, Brocade is always synonymous with storage. Again, our fiber channel heritage is what brought us there. The reason I bring this up is, again, from a fiber channel storage array, from a storage array vendor perspective, there's a lot of players out there. EMC, NetApp, HP, IBM, all of these different players. And Lenovo, again, does not build organically their own fiber channel arrays at this point. So what this means is Lenovo is going to be leveraging their partnerships with EMC, with IBM, to be able to, again, build out these solutions for customers. But what's important about that to realize is Brocade actually has partnerships with all of these OEM vendors. We test and validate our products, multiple releases with EMC, NetApp, with HP, with IBM. I mean, down the line, we validate our products to make sure that they're going to work with those arrays. Because we know in the storage business, testing, resiliency, reliability is key in the industry. And because of that maniacal focus that Brocade has, it really has helped us become the #1 storage area networking vendor in the world. What does that mean? It's confidently knowing Brocade is going to work in your environment. There's not going to be a concern if you recommend Brocade or use Brocade that they're going to say that's not a trusted technology. We are, again, 75% of the data centers worldwide are control that market. And more importantly, many people don't realize Brocade is #2 in data center networking. Now, why is this important? #1, we know is Cisco. Cisco has a lion's share of that market. But Brocade is #2 in the data center market. So again, low risk from an IP and a fiber channel perspective and an FCOE perspective. More importantly, #3 is actually a category of others. So what it really is we are partnering with Lenovo to make sure we are providing a best-of-breed solution that is as open as possible and as flexible as possible for customers and for sellers and for business partners. Now, what is the partnership today? What you're seeing is Lenovo's portfolio with Brocade is these 4 embedded products. The right-hand side, you're seeing our Blade Center chassis products. So these are both in a fiber channel Ethernet product and a fiber channel product. On the left-hand side is our Flex products. So these actually came from the System X side of things. So nothing is really, these products have not changed from a System X perspective. They were moved over to the Lenovo through the acquisition. I want to make sure everybody is aware these are the products that have been released. We're continuing to develop the roadmap and adding features to this these products. And what we're going to see today is some of the great new features we've added for our EN4023 Flex Chassis product, which is our converged switch for Flex. Now, also importantly, one of the things I want to point out is Lenovo and Brocade is expanding their relationship in 2015. We will be releasing 3 SAN switches through Lenovo in the first quarter of 2015. Again, we're aggressively growing this portfolio because we realize we want to be able to provide converged solutions or turnkey solutions for customers and making it a single point for customers to be able to come in and purchase your fiber channel switches, your embedded switches, and your servers, and all of the things that are needed for your turnkey solutions in your data center. And again, we are targeting for February 2015. There should be an announcement prior to that, but again, that date is to be finalized, but I'll say targeting for February 2015 to launch our fiber channel SAN switches. And again, to provide, and many of these switches, again, they've been released with System X. We are relaunching them with Lenovo. Again, the goal is to create a single point of contact to be able to obtain the switches and simplifying your ordering process, management process, all aspects of it, and being able to work with Lenovo. So again, these switches have been released. They've been on the market for a while. I say a while, a few years at this point. So again, they're proven. They, again, validated, and again, rely on Brocade's heritage of the fiber channel SAN switch. What Lenovo is a great partner with is the capability of launching these 3 switches is because they understand the nature of customers want the flexibility in how they order the switches. One of the things we want to make sure when we provided this product to Lenovo and they're reselling it is the flexibility of choosing how many ports you need. So again, you'll see this pay-as-you-grow scalability is the capability of ordering the number of ports that you need. So you're not buying a 48-port switch and requiring all 48-port switches or 48 ports. You can buy a 48-port switch with only 24 ports turned on. So it gives you that expandability capability and buying your capital infrastructure first and adding licenses to expand your needs. And again, these are enterprise-level switches. One of the things we always point out is these 48-port switches, these are the port densities that were capable, that were actually in the field as directors, these large chassis-based switches in the past. We've increased the density and reliability of our switches to have, again, 48 ports of fiber channel and a single switch. So again, very high port density, industry-leading technology and reliability. And again, the scalability that's been known in the industry is what we do. And again, the goal with the first 3 switches is to help enable these new entry systems, again, with a bottom switch, the 300, and also with our 16 gig switches, our Gen 5 portfolio of 24 and 48 port switches. So here's just a quick overview of the actual switches. I want to make sure you're aware of it. We're not going to go much more. I think there's one more slide on this that we'll quickly go through. But realize our Brocade 6505 and 6510 is our 16 gig fiber channel or Gen 5 fiber channel switches. When you're looking at those 2 switches, the biggest difference you'll notice, and to make it easy, from those 2 switches, it just comes down to how many ports do you need. That's how the selection process is. You need 48 ports in the future, up to 48 ports in the future. The 6510, the 6505 is the same chipset, software, and everything that runs on it. What that means is, again, it just eases that transition, or interoperability is extremely high between these switches, and it's completely seamless. The Brocade 300 is really the entry-level switch. That is an 8 gig only switch that we are releasing, and again, it's meant to be that. It's an extremely low-cost entry switch that has limitations. And from a fiber channel perspective, again, you'll see no E-port, which is that's an optional item. But again, what you're seeing is the 6505 and 6510 is truly an enterprise-level fiber channel switch. Here's the high-level overview. These are part of the slide, so I will make sure you have these, or I think these will be shared already, so you won't need to go through them directly. But again, the launch of these switches is targeted for February of 2015, and again, the goal is to expand the portfolio with Lenovo over time also. So the other 2 products that the whole presentation is really focused heavily on is really the Flex embedded products. And the reason, again, these 2 products is co-developed, again, Brocade and Lenovo work together to release these products close to almost 2 years ago for both of these products. And we were part of the original launch of Flex. And again, what we wanted to do is maximize the benefits of the Lenovo Flex system and basically leveraging its capabilities. They provided us the ability to provide some of the highest density capabilities within this chassis. So we wanted to maximize the performance and throughput and capabilities of the Flex system by, again, enabling it with these products. So high level, we're going to go a little more detail, but again, Gen 5, you're going to see that term. Just realize Gen 5 fiber channel is 16 gigabit fiber channel also. So we just use them synonymously, but again, Gen 5 is more than just 16 gig. There is other features, but just realize 16 gigabit fiber channel is what you can see for Gen 5, so just so you don't get confused when I mention both of them. So there's a fiber channel enabled switch, and on the bottom you're going to see the VCS enabled, and that's, I know, on the title of the presentation. It is an IP switch that we actually added fiber channel over Ethernet capabilities to this switch this month. And the fiber channel over Ethernet capabilities is making this switch an industry leader versus anybody else in the market. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but again, it's an industry leader in being a Gen 5 capable 16 gigabit fiber channel over Ethernet switch within an embedded platform. So one of the first questions we always hear, and I'll tell you honestly, this is one of the most common questions we get from everybody, is when do you actually use fiber channel? When do you use your FCOE products versus when do you use your fiber channel products? We talked about both of them being great, and honestly they are. They fit basically two major customer segments. We realize is sometimes the customers have their mindset of exactly what we want, or what they want. Some customers have mission critical applications, and there's a dedicated fiber channel team or a standard administrating team and an IT team that do not want to share resources or do not want to share equipment. And for those customers that also need purpose-built networks, again, highly critical, high uptime, again, mission critical, highest availability, fiber channel is going to be your best choice. Customers that are looking to use flash storage, this is a big one. Flash storage, we've heard it from executives from IBM Flash Storage and also from other vendors out there, Violin and many others. Flash storage has been designed and optimized for 16 gigabit Gen 5 fiber channel. So just realize this, customers are investing in that flash storage arrays that are very high performance. They realize they are going to be looking to leverage 16 gigabit fiber channel of them. And also fiber channel switching provides more visibility from a storage perspective. Again, because of our fiber channel header, it's full visibility, deep dive visibility into your fiber channel network. So again, a dedicated fiber channel network provides that. So when you actually use a fiber channel over Ethernet solution, and I'll say fiber channel over Ethernet, I'll say FCOE for short. If you're looking for a lower cost entry, really it comes down to that's the first and foremost. Your biggest savings is it's just going to be a savings thing. It is not, again, from a performance perspective, you're going to see higher performance from fiber channel. Fiber channel over Ethernet provides capital savings. Again, you're going to be consolidating the amount of equipment you're leveraging. Again, you're not going to have a dedicated fiber channel and dedicated IP network, so you're reducing the number of switches within the rack. If fiber channel over Ethernet storage is being used, again, logically, that's when you want to use fiber channel over Ethernet in the switches. And if a customer is actually looking for multiple fabrics, if the InfiniBand is being used, then you're going to look at using fiber channel over Ethernet within the solution. Because again, within the Lenovo Flex chassis, there's 4 slots, which means you have 2 different fabrics in there. So you can choose 2 at that point. And if you're going to do that and you need storage access and InfiniBand access and Ethernet access, that's when you're going to use fiber channel over Ethernet. So this is just a quick high-level view of when to choose each one of those. But again, customers have that organizational divide. Again, if customers prefer to keep their network separate, there's no reason to convince them to go to fiber channel over Ethernet or convince them to go to fiber channel. The switches are both designed to meet both of those market needs. And again, Lenovo is unique in the market and be able to provide both high-performance, industry-leading products for both of those segments. So again, you're covering all of your fiber channel storage needs. And again, from a Brocade perspective, we are the leaders for Gen 5 16 gigabit fiber channel. We test and validate both of these products to be seamlessly to interoperate with Brocade storage area networking. And again, we have management tools that allow you to manage both sides of these environments, both the Fibre channel and both the Fibre channel over Ethernet environment. So what you realize is, again, it's not a holy war of choosing the best technology. It's choosing a technology that works with you and your customers. So from a high-level perspective, we kind of gave you when to choose Fibre channel over Ethernet. Here's just, again, covering Fibre channel. What you have here is, this is a 5022, FC5022. This is a 16 gig, 8 gig, and 4 gig FC Fibre channel switch, Gen 5 capable. And again, it is an industry leader in your portfolio. And what I want to point out is, again, from a perspective that you have 2 slots available for Fibre channel networking within a Flex chassis. You really want to make sure those 2 slots are maximized and have the scalability and everything that you need to allow you to scale and basically future-proof your technology. And again, where Brocade fits in is we put the highest density port density in there, which allows you to scale from your needs today, tomorrow, and into the future. And again, same idea, pay as you grow. You don't need to buy all the ports enabled. You're actually going to be purchasing the switch based on what your needs are. And again, a very large range of connectivity options. If you're using the high-density servers, double-density servers, you're using high-performance servers. As you're looking at X6 servers, these Fibre channel switches have been validated with all of the servers and are meant to maximize the performance of those servers also. So many people say, it's great and all, but the problem is anybody in my own environment or my customer's environment, they have 8 gigabit storage arrays. So why are we buying a 16 gig switch? And one of the best things, Emulex actually helped develop a lot of the tests and validate a lot of this is customers, or they are able to see and validated that they're able to see performance boosts when you use 16 gigabit connectivity, 16 gigabit adapters and networking going into an 8 gigabit storage array. So the logic of that, people say, well, how does that work? Really, the best analogy I point out to people is imagine this. It's like adding a super highway when you're going to work. You can take all side streets and get there, and yes, you'll eventually get there. But if you add a super highway, it's going to get there faster. You're going to have to get off the highway to actually get to your work. The same analogy, you're speeding up the traffic up until that exit. So really, that's exactly what 16 gigabit or Gen 5 is doing in the market and doing for your server environments. So I'll do you're seeing 3x, 75%, 41%, 30%. I'll just say it's going to see close to a 40% boost in server performance when you're using a 16 gig environment going into even to an 8 gig storage array. But ironically, if you think about it, as I mentioned, flash storage is continuing to rise. Many of the reports are showing flash storage is coming down in the price point where you're going to see it more and more in the environments today. So when you're telling out Fibre or recommending a Fibre channel solution, 16 gigabit Fibre channel is the preferred and recommended solution, or else it's actually going to be the bottleneck to that flash storage. Even beyond that, they're starting to build more applications to maximize the performance of flash. So there's going to be more and more traffic that's going to be ramping up really quickly in the coming years, or actually, I'd say this year actually, where you're going to see a higher strain on that SAN network if it was 8 gig or 4 gig. So we need to make sure we're recommending or building solutions that can maximize the 16 gig capability. Beyond that, Fibre channel networking, we talked about the resiliency. Brocade has a capability with our port density, port connectivity, to provide, again, high levels of redundancy within these Flex systems. Again, these Flex systems are very powerful systems, and we want to make sure that we don't provide a single point of failure. Customers don't want to say, we don't want failures anywhere. We want to make sure we're maximizing our redundancy within these systems. And we have the unique capability with Lenovo to provide that. And again, you're seeing with the Emulex 4054 4-port HPA adapters, we can actually provide true redundancy within the Flex chassis. Now, the other part I'd like to point out is 16 gig is great. Everybody's going to say, yes, well, that doesn't help me very much because I can't provide solutions that have a super premium. I missed one number on the side of this. So one of the greatest things I love about what 16 gig does and our scalability capabilities, if you're looking at 16 gig versus 8 gig, you can look at the different how 16 gig or 8 gig flex system is priced versus an HP 8 gig solution. The reason I point this out, these are all list pricing, so there's nothing confidential in what we're showing here. This is just list pricing for these products to build it out. But what you're realizing is with an 8 gig solution, you have to add in fiber channel top of rack switches, more optics to get the same bandwidth, to just get the recommended bandwidth and subscription levels that you require in any of these environments. But when you're building it with 16 gigs fiber channel or Gen 5 fiber channel, what you're doing is you're optimizing the design. You're using less optics, less switches, less cables, less points of failure. So looking at it from actually just a hardware cost, not even an operational cost, what you're going to actually see from a 16 gig perspective is the pricing is more aggressive with Flex with 16 gigabit. You're actually going to save more money with a 16 gigabit capable solution. And the reason I say this is literally you're managing less equipment, but beyond that, you're getting about a 40% improvement with your server environments, but you're paying less for the overall because you're not paying for those top of rack switches. So again, what you're seeing is the capabilities of 16 gig is ramped up where customers are now leveraging 16 gig in flash environments. Price-wise, you can design 16 gigabit Gen 5 capable solutions cheaper than an 8 gig solution. So now, this is just a general thing. So people say, well, that's just one rack. What we like to actually show is there's actually a differential, even if you scale out. And the reason I show that is, again, it's not just a loophole where we're just doing smoke and mirrors and looking at it with the sun aligned and the moon aligned and the perfect angle that it's consistent. As you start and as you scale, you're going to see a better performance and better pricing when looking at 16 gig capable solutions. When you just look beyond just the chassis. If you're looking at a single chassis, that's where you'll see the pricing differentials. It's really when you just go beyond one chassis. So anybody looking to scale their environment is going to see that difference. And then again, we're looking to build our relationship with our customers, our business partners, and our sellers. We want to make sure we set you up in the place that we can be, again, recommending a solution that you see the value of in today, tomorrow, and in the future, without having to pay more and more up later on because of a decision that was made early on. Now, beyond that, many people, and this is actually interesting, is the performance differences between 8 gig and 16 gig and even how Flex can compete against Cisco UCS. Many people are looking at Cisco UCS because Cisco is an amazing marketing machine in what it does and when it has success. What you're seeing is basically we want to compare a Flex system connected into a flash storage array. I mean, basically you're seeing it, we tried to build this as close as possible as we could in a like-to-like environment. But what you're showing is a flash system connected to a Flex system and a Cisco UCS. And again, Cisco UCS is leveraging fiber channel over Ethernet in their environments within the chassis or within their modular servers. And again, they break it out from there into various things. We match speed for speed on both sides. Again, we mentioned that because we wanted to make sure this was a fair and consistent comparison. And again, what we realized is Flex with fiber channel, again, has that consistency, the deterministic responses. Again, storage arrays, you need to be able to have consistencies. If there's inconsistencies, applications begin to fail. There's not predictable performance. If there's peak workloads, it makes it extremely difficult to design your environment to match it. So really, by looking at Cisco's performance, you're seeing that variability in consistency, variability in response time. That can be the difference of a customer experience being abysmal or being consistent and regular. And again, that's the difference between fiber channel and FCOE when even comparing it from a Cisco UCS and also with the Flex system. But again, more importantly is by separating out these networks, having a separate fiber channel network versus a FCOE network, where you're having converged traffic, what they found is you will not have the same storage latency, or you have actually very consistent storage latency from a fiber channel perspective. FCOE, the biggest challenge with it is you can prioritize traffic. Again, the problem you're going to run into every time is as there's more network utilization, as you start pumping more traffic to these storage arrays, even if there's no IP traffic, no mixed traffic, just fiber channel over Ethernet traffic, you're going to start seeing a latency delay. And you can see it. It can be magnitude difference between a fiber channel and fiber channel over Ethernet because of how the protocols were designed and how it was designed to operate with these storage environments. So again, what you're going to start seeing is customers that are buying flash storage, they're going to want to leverage that fiber channel array or fiber channel network to maximize their investment. They spent a lot of money to maximize the performance and get predictability. They're going to be able to see it. So I bring that up because, again, customers, you may be hearing, and partners may be hearing that FCOE is going to solve all problems. In reality, FCOE is great within the rack if you're looking to just save cost. Cost is the major driver of what you're trying to accomplish. Because from a capital expense up front, it is cheaper. Long term, again, it depends on what your requirements are and what your needs are. But again, what we try to do is make sure we cover both ends of a storage environment, a fiber channel over Ethernet or fiber channel. But at the same time, realize fiber channel has its place of being a high performance, low latency, predictable for mission critical workloads. And again, other papers, these are IBM papers that we've written in the past. But again, consistently, from a fiber channel perspective, you're going to see a 50 to 100% increase in VM density, 20 to 40% less servers, because you can have more VMs on a server because, again, less strain on your networking resources when you're leveraging Gen 5 16 gig. And again, 16 gig versus 8 gig, it's a lot less components. But again, overall, what does that mean? If you're paying less, you have less parts to manage, means less downtime, less failure. That's where the difference of 16 gigabit comes in. So I'm actually going to do a quick time check. It's 11:36. Let me pause now. What we're going to go into next is our convert switch, which is our EN4023. This is really the big area that we launched a major initiative to enable fiber channel Ethernet capability on our Brocade switch in this environment. Well, let me pause now. Is there any quick questions that you want to ask regarding our fiber channel portfolio? And if you want to use the chat window, that will work. Now I don't know if everybody else is on mute, so
yeah,
chat window might be
not seeing anything in the chat window, so just to remind anybody that may have joined late, if you want to ask a question, please utilize the chat window. Thanks, Steve.
Great.
And continue on.
Thank you. All right, so again, the second product is another embedded product. It is a Brocade EN4023. I was about to say, I know it's not very easy to remember all these product numbers, and it doesn't help that EN4023 is very close to the numbering of EN4093. We didn't get a chance to choose our numbering scheme. There is a very good reason it was designed the way it was from a numbering perspective, but realize that EN4023 is a Brocade FCOE capable switch. So this switch was actually launched over a year and a half ago. What it was is we initially launched this as an IP-enabled switch with the known goals of this would be a fully capable FCOE switch. But really, what we did when we designed this switch from the ground up, from the ASIC level all the way up, is we designed this to make sure we simplified networking. What does that mean is we made sure this is a full layer 2 and layer 3 capable switch. So not pass-through switch, nothing along those lines. It is a full layer 2, layer 3 switch built into it. We included Brocade VCS. So you heard the term VCS, or you may not have heard of it. It's virtual cluster switching. Many people don't know what that is. The best way is something else called Ethernet fabrics. I'll explain a little bit more what the benefits of Ethernet fabrics are. But just realize we took the heritage of fiber channel. We actually use fabrics there for over 15 years. Leveraged that fabric technology to simplify management and moved it over into the Ethernet side of things. And it created a new market that many people have entered. We offer dynamic ports on demand. Many, I think you use dynamic port mapping for the Lenovo products. FlexPorts is what was enabled in this latest release in December. FlexPorts is actually creating the capability of having Ethernet, Fibre channel, Ethernet ports externally on your switch. And again, we also made sure we qualified this with storage and LAN networks to make sure it interoperates. So again, simplifying your networking into a single switch that can do everything. Really, it's kind of your Swiss Army knife that has the capability of doing your layer 2, layer 3, FCOE, Fibre channel connectivity, Ethernet fabric capability, all built into this switch. And again, why did we do that? Again, we leverage how we design a switch to be storage optimized. Again, Brocade is known as a storage networking leader, so we wanted to make sure we optimize this switch for all types of storage connectivity. And we talked earlier in the presentation where we said IP connectivity or FCOE or NAS or iSCSI connectivity. We optimize these switches to be work in all of those environments because we know the demands are going to consistently change. Demands from customer or the traffic loads are going to change. So we want to make sure we future-proof this technology. We enabled 16 gigabit Gen 5 Fibre channel. And again, you're seeing the last one, 10 gig Fibre channel over Ethernet capabilities. And again, optimized for iSCSI and NAS. Really, we went above and beyond. We could have just said it's an IP switch. Yes, you can connect to those. The difference is we optimized it. We made it better. We wanted to make sure we saw performance improvement when connecting even to IP storage arrays. We wanted to see the boost of 30% performance boost when connecting even to Fibre channel or even connecting into iSCSI or IP storage arrays. And that is great, but the worst thing about switching and IP networking is it can't be complex. So what we did is we completely simplified it to the point that it almost made my engineering skill set that I had almost useless because we simplified the networking to the point that almost any administrator should easily be able to manage these switches. We made it so you can manage 48 of these switches as one big switch. People say, well, about stacking of switches. Well, we took stacking to a whole new level. 48 switches. You're talking massive environment managed as one switch. So again, what it's showing is we looked at it from all perspectives. Make sure we just weren't giving a narrow product that limited what you can do. We wanted to make sure this can be a foundation for all future solutions. So again, also make sure this is future-proof with VM NSX or VXLAN gateway. Customers are requiring VXLAN gateway integrated into this same chipset architecture and software. OpenFlow, as we talk, emerging into the software-defined networking, this is an OpenFlow capable switch. And again, from a multi-tenancy, we have the capability of segmenting our switch out into making it smaller switches for customers that have maybe hosting multiple customers within their environment. Now, from a front side perspective, I don't actually talk much more on ports and speeds, but again, you're seeing there's 42 internal ports, so 42 ports going to all the servers, and then 14 external ports that are 10 gig or 1 gig, or Fibre channel of 8 gig or 16 gig. So what you're seeing again is all those 10 gig ports, I think 43 to 56, are the flexible ports. Those are the ones that give you that connectivity to your Fibre channel storage arrays, or Fibre channel SAN networks, to your IP storage network, everything. Those are the ports that will connect in and give you connectivity to those environments. And then we also have 40 gig connectivity for customers that are looking for that very high bandwidth connectivity up into the IP networks also. So again, from a VCS, many of you may have heard this. If not, really the big thing about VCS is, again, to summarize this whole chart as simple as possible, is we looked at traditional IP networking. We knew we had our Fibre channel fabric technology. What we realized is we needed a way to simplify networking because customers were getting extremely frustrated in trying to design networks today and then having to redesign them or re-provision or add more expensive core switches to accomplish something because you have more traffic going between racks. Simple little things like that cause customers strain. We just started evaluating all that and realized that fabrics and the IP side can simplify a lot of the challenges that customers are seeing in the environments. And again, being able to do it very simply and without a lot of complexity and how to even deploy these systems. So again, and I like these because really it's a spaghetti soup in this. There is no hard set design. I mean, customers are used to 3-tier networks. What you're going to see is Ethernet fabrics. You can design them any way you want. I mean, there is no There's recommendations how we can tell you to optimize it, but if you're starting to see customers can have rack level optimization, row level optimization, data center level optimization, northwest traffic optimized, or east-west. Again, the ability of Fabrics is to be able to change your network extremely easily. I mean, I hate to say extremely easily. Any sales guy I can do it, and that's a little bit scary to say that. I can redesign a network by plugging in cables and being able to optimize my network depending on what the traffic flows are. It doesn't require a PhD to deploy and design networks anymore. So again, how do we do this? I mean, how do we simplify a lot of it? Again, when you're going into a lot of these customers' environments, or if you're the customer, you have Cisco. Okay? The Cisco is everywhere. Cisco Catalyst 6500 is their mainstay product. It is everywhere. Like I deployed many of those systems myself, so I know they've been around for almost going on 20 years on some of their systems. But again, deploying just a simple 10-switch configuration. We looked at this and actually designed this out. To build out a 10-switch configuration takes about 360 steps to build this out. So people say, well, that's fine, and that's to build this environment so it can be ready to deploy. That's fine, that's not too bad. Well, the problem you become is that's 360 steps that can go wrong. 360 steps that have to be validated to make sure the system is up and running. People say, well, that's fine. That's not too much of a concern. I can just make sure it's up and running. Problem is, looking at it, or I don't say problem is, Brocade saw that and realized the complexity should not be there. This should all be automated, period. The Fabric should be able to do all 360 steps, or a majority of them, automatically. There's no reason. It's the same thing over and over and over again for a lot of these configurations. So what does Ethernet Fabrics really address? Is again, from a 10-switch Brocade version of this, so using that same EN4023, literally you're configuring IP address, Arbridge ID, which means your switch 1, your switch 2, your switch 3, so on and so forth, switch 10. And then start connecting your cables to the switches. You literally have your whole network built out at that point. So you're talking about the high-performance network that's being built literally in 4 steps. So why does that also matter? Can you imagine being a network administrator today? 3 o'clock in the morning, you get the phone call because your network's down. Do you want to be the guy that has a Cisco environment today that has to troubleshoot 360 steps to try to figure out who may have mistyped one command somewhere or changed one command somewhere over the last couple of weeks? Or do you want to be a network administrator that gets the phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning because something is going wrong and you have to validate if somebody used switch number Arbridge ID 4 twice? And realize, oh, that was the problem, and that's it. That's the difference between Ethernet Fabrics and that. The troubleshooting is you're troubleshooting one switch or you're troubleshooting 10 switches. And your configurations are simplified to make it easier to manage them. So now the other questions we talked about Ethernet Fabrics. Why I bring this up is Cisco has a Cisco Fabric Path. They realized there is Ethernet Fabrics out there. What they did is they came out with Nexus with Fabric Path. Even then, same idea. We had customers that took months and months to try to set up the Cisco Nexus environment with the same type of configuration, Fabric environment. They had 114 steps. Doesn't sound like a lot. It literally took that company 2 months of testing and validating to just stage it to make sure everything was right because they had a short window to implementing it. We walked over and explained to them the benefits of Brocade VCS. They did a proof of concept, and they said, that deployment time is going to went from months to days in being able to deploy a whole network infrastructure. So it gives you an idea. All fabrics are not created equal. I mean, honestly, Cisco's Fabric is still just built on the complex infrastructure. Again, Brocade leverage its heritage and fabrics on the fiber channel side, our bumps and bruises, everything we learned on the fiber channel side, and optimize it to make it world-class and put it into our IP. So honestly, we cheated. And I'll say it's worked out great. It's the product that is completely steadfast and powerful. So now, deploying your systems is one thing. I mean, again, you roll it out, you find everything is up and running, you're good, you'll say. But many customers are saying, well, that's not the problem. They end up spending 90% of their time managing their infrastructure because their environments are never stagnant. What customers are saying is, you always have issues. Adding something as we need more bandwidth because the traffic between these 2 racks is getting too high. Adding something as simple as adding bandwidth or adding another rack of equipment can have a massive impact on a traditional IP network. It is not an easy thing. There's protocols galore to help protect everybody from making a mistake. Literally spanning tree and routing loops, and there's multiple things, routing protocols to help prevent a lot of, because it's always a concern that you're going to bring down your network. I mean, the best way to describe it is in a traditional IP network, I mean, literally, if you're adding a switch in or adding an additional port, you need to make sure you're configuring interface port number, and you need to do LACP, and you have to do channel groups. But, you know, on this switch, channel group 1 and port 2 is connected to remote side channel group, port group 2 and channel group port 3. But if you mess up all those numbers, if you mess up the port channel number, you can bring down your network. You accidentally plug it into the wrong port, you can bring down your network. So what you start to see is it's actually really scary to actually do something that's add additional bandwidth. It has to, you have to wait through these large windows or allocate time later on down the line. Brocade Ethernet fabrics literally simplified the whole process. You need more bandwidth, you walk up, plug in a cable between the two switches, it automatically configures and says, oh, you gave me more bandwidth. Let me start using it in this environment with zero configuration. It doesn't require you to change anything. It's smart enough to start optimizing the whole fabric, all of the switches, so it's not just that one. It will optimize its whole fabric to make sure it uses all of the available paths at the optimal usage. And the same thing happens when you add a switch. You add another switch, again, you make sure it pulls the configurations from all these other switches. And again, it automatically joins the fabric based on if you gave it the right R-bridges number or the next incremental. And it just joins that fabric. And remember, this continues to grow very easily. So again, you're talking from a flex perspective, from 1 flex chassis up to 24 flex chassis. It can all be one large logical Ethernet fabric. So what does that mean is you're now not managing 48 switches. You're managing one switch, one command line. To be able to add switches in, remove them, troubleshoot, that type of capability of just really simplifying what you can do in your environment. So again, why does that actually matter? 5 times easier to deploy. We kind of talked about it. The ability to be able to, minimize the number of steps that have to be configured to deploy your systems. 90% operational savings. That's really a big one. Being able to automate a lot of the rudimentary steps of adding bandwidth, adding another switch, replacing a switch that's failed, automating that process so it's got to be a greater impact. And again, fabrics are optimized. They do automate utilizing all of the network paths in the environment. So again, why is this important? As we're looking at fiber channel over Ethernet, it simplifies how you can build out your fiber channel over Ethernet environment. It simplifies how you can access your IP storage. One of the other parts that I'll briefly step on, or actually on the last one, is in these environments, remember we talked about optimizing your storage connectivity and optimizing the IP storage? Brocade Ethernet fabrics can get up to 30% more traffic to your IP storage arrays versus a traditional IP network. And that's because of our capability of passing traffic within our fabric. So we can optimize even your IP storage investments. Now again, this is more of slightly, I don't want to say technical, but just want to make sure people are clear. Flex ports, and you'll see the term Blackbird, I probably could have removed this, but there's multiple names for the same switch. We call it Blackbird, EDX2740, IBM EM4023, and now it's going to be the Lenovo EN4023. But realize those are all the same. The external ports are the ones that have that flex port capability. That capability of doing direct fiber channel connectivity to a Brocade storage array, or Brocade storage network, sorry, not storage array. We do not sell arrays at all. Also, the 40 gigs capable ports will not support flex ports, so they're not going to pass fiber channel traffic over that. Because again, you're going to want to use those SFPs or the mass number of ports to connect to your fiber channel network. The 40 gigs are actually meant to be designed to connect to your IP storage or IP networks first. And again, there's configurations, minimal configurations to enabling FCOE or changing your ports to be a flex port. Again, the bottom is just an example of the snippet of actual commands to enable it. But again, simplifying even setting up a flex ports. And I think to set up fiber channel over Ethernet on your switches, the amount of steps required, I think, is 2 to 3 steps to enable fiber channel over Ethernet across your whole switch. And we'll actually be releasing some videos that showcase how simple it is to even set up something like fiber channel over Ethernet. It's demystifying the complexity, making it very simple for customers to deploy this in their environments. So again, what are we seeing in the industry? And again, we really want to summarize it as easy as possible. Customers that are doing fiber channel or Ethernet, and the strongest recommendation from everybody we're hearing is it is highly recommended to break out fiber channel when you're using a fiber channel over Ethernet environment as early as possible in your environment. The reason being is the higher up you go in your stack, if you're going to your top of rack switches or aggregation switches, you're basically grouping traffic together where they can start influencing each other. They can have a lot more bleed over. By splitting it out within the chassis, you can still see near fiber channel performance, meaning that higher predictability and reliability that you're looking from a fiber channel perspective. You can start seeing a little bit better when you break it out as early as possible. The higher up you go, there's a lot more influences of where customers will have more traffic going to your aggregation that can influence and impact the latency to your fiber channel storage arrays. So the first recommendation is always to make sure you break out your fiber channel traffic as early as possible to see the strongest benefits of it. So there's a cost savings that you're going to see within the chassis, but again, still having the performance that customers require. So from a Brocade perspective for this launch, we tested and validated that the EN4023, our Blackbird product, our fiber channel VDX super switch, has the capability of seamlessly connecting into Brocade stands from NPID or access gateway mode, there's multiple ways people call it, or using fiber channel routing, and has the capability of having direct attached fiber channel over Ethernet storage arrays, and also validating and testing for Ethernet storage. Again, iSCSI and NAS, again, it's not just a set it and forget it. We want to make sure we tested it from both a hardware and software perspective. Make sure it was optimized, seeing a performance difference. Because again, customers may have fiber channel today. They may add IP networking storage tomorrow or FCOE storage tomorrow. Basically, you don't have to worry about it. It's going to work in any of those environments and know it's been optimized for all of those. So from an IP, and again, I keep bringing up the IP storage because it is a strong growth market. And ironically, storage administrators have been approaching us aggressively because they love to see, or actually are happy to see what we're able to do with our Brocade VCS, our Ethernet fabric capabilities within an IP storage environment. Customers are actually using our switches to build, instead of a fiber channel storage network, they're building an Ethernet fabric storage network, because they realize as IP storage keeps growing in mass and faster and accelerating its growth, they realize having blended, one network that access everything, it doesn't give predictable performance. Customers are starting to use more IP storage for even some more mission-critical applications. They realize they need to still have a separate fabric or an Ethernet fabric, even on that side of things, because it helps optimize the performance within those environments. So that's another thing you are going to see. Brocade is very heavy because, again, we realize storage is our heritage. Storage is our expertise. That is where we provided certain feedback from administrators, from customers, from business partners. We constantly look for ways to optimize and improve our products to make sure we address the market needs. We're not giving you a hammer to say everything is a nail. We're giving you a toolbox that has the capability of doing whatever you need. So again, the biggest thing is when you're investing in a product like 4023, we enable that fiber channel over Ethernet capabilities. We enable a switch that leverages that fiber channel stack. That fiber channel stack from our SAN switches that we have that 75% market share is now being pulled into our fiber channel or into our Ethernet stack. So what it means is we are actually using technology and code that's been validated, tested, battle proven, and using it in an environment to help expand your capabilities now. Again, the ability for Lenovo to address both a fiber channel and fiber channel over Ethernet environment holistically with a Brocade end-to-end solution and be able to provide that reliability storage administrators are used to. And beyond that, even beyond just fiber channel storage, again, having that capability of growing in with your software-defined networking, with the IP storage connectivity, with your flash storage, as that continues to ramp up and become more price competitive, the cost or return on investment for flash storage, the numbers are staggering. Customers are constantly telling us that the investment in flash storage is not just about speed, It's literally power and cooling. These storage arrays, flash storage arrays are so efficient at what they do and how fast they can do things. Honestly, it's just the return on investment is extremely fast on them. So customers, you're going to see an extreme ramp up of flash storage arrays in the environments you're seeing. What that means is making sure we provide a solution. Even if it's a flash storage and you're using FCOE, with 16 gig Gen 5 in our FCOE products, it's still optimized for that flash storage also. So we do have that capability, but again, you're addressing it for both markets. So you're not entering a battleground or a holy war. What you're telling your customer is we can design it to match your environments without ripping or replacing or redesigning your whole network. We integrate into your environment at low risk, at low to some of the lowest cost in the industry, in an extremely simple way. So again, one last part, and I think we're hitting near the end of the presentation, but really it's this. The capability of investing in Brocade within Lenovo with our technology, both from a fiber channel or an FCOE perspective with our VDX EN4023, we have the capability of just scaling out. We talked about up to 24 chassis, but it goes actually beyond that if you think about it. Our technology is not limited to just embedded switches. This same VCS technology is out for your regular rack mount servers too. It can seamlessly join any of these other VCS fabrics also. So there's VCS-enabled top-of-rack switches that can expand to rack mount servers. So this Ethernet fabric can scale both modular chassis like your flex systems and also to your rack mount servers. And because of our port densities on this, you can actually connect some of your extra or your rack mount servers into these embedded switches. If you have a couple of rack mount servers and you want to connect them in, you can easily connect them in within the rack if you're connecting to your embedded switches to use those ports up. And those servers now are part of this whole Ethernet fabric. So again, remember we talked about you can design a network any way you want. It depends on what your traffic needs are, but it also doesn't limit you. There's ways we can scale it out. Many of the customers may be using Brocade's VCS. We have actually director level switches that's for VCS, and our VDX top of rack switches that also can be integrated into these environments. But really what it is the flexibility and, again, the simplicity of being able to design and implement our technology with Lenovo and be able to, again, hit a broad set of customer needs. So, again, in closing, really it's this. Brocade is really an industry leader. We've been pushing and striving to be an industry leader in building out storage area networking, data center networking, making sure that we interoperate, make sure we work. Really, it's that. It has to work. And again, it has to be low risk for everyone. We don't want to make this complex and an impossible sale, or even for customers to implement it. The goal is to make sure it seamlessly works in your environment. Again, we partner with storage networking leaders in the OEM space to make sure that we work in those environments. Again, extensive and really long, lengthy qualification and test processes to make sure we work in all these environments. And again, I always say, I best describe it, it's helping you build the next easy data center. You don't need your data centers to be overly complex. We need to simplify data centers to make them easier to manage. So again, we can focus on other projects. Again, instead of spending millions of dollars and 90% of your operational expenses on managing your systems, if you're automating that process, it frees up budget so you can work on more important critical products that help bring more value to your customers. So again, and also, most importantly, is future-proofing it. Don't buy a technology that's going to limit you. Buying a technology that is a platform to be able to grow into your needs from both fiber channel, IP storage, giving you that capability of doing it. And on the bottom, you're going to see is an email alias. I am on that email alias. I see every email that comes across. Our field sales team, John Chamberlain, who's on the call, his manager, his whole team that you saw the map earlier, is on there to help answer questions. Really, we are truly an extension of the Lenovo team. We are here to be your experts, your sales and technical experts where we can, help provide you with design recommendations, really to walk anybody through this. Our goal is to be there for you. So that is a high-level overview. I hope you were able to get some key benefits out of it. I'll pause now and, again, to see if there's any questions at this point. And again, I think everybody may be on mute, so the best option may be the chat window if you have any general questions.
It doesn't look like there's any so far there, Steve.
All right. Well then, with that, I will say first and foremost, again, thank you. Again, Brocade is extremely excited and energized to work with Lenovo to build out more and more solutions. You'll see many of these, we'll be talking about more about solutions actually in the coming months, expanding our portfolio with Lenovo because we see a partnership that's meant to grow. We're there to make sure we provide customers end-to-end solutions, provide customers world-class solutions that help enable their needs today and into the future. Again, everyone, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Use the email alias, and I appreciate your feedback, and again, I appreciate your support.
Thanks, Steve. We at Lenovo continue to appreciate your innovations that Brocade brings to the table, and we look forward to more VCS infrastructure growth. So with that, we hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season and enjoy the rest of your 2014 calendar year. That concludes this event. Thank you.